Welcome to ASM Live from Microbe 2017 in New Orleans. Hey everybody, I'm Vincent Racaniello, and today I'm going to be talking about science communication with MIT virologist Islam Hussein. Welcome.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah.
Years, right?
A couple of hours ago.
So I am going to ask the questions this time.
Yeah.
This morning, you were asking the questions.
Yep.
And in fact, if people want to find that episode, which is archived, you can go to facebook.com/ASMfan, right?
Yep.
And the same will hold for this. Now, if you're in the audience, you can ask questions. A microphone will magically appear at the back of the room. And if you're online, you can also send in your questions in the chat room there at facebook.com/ASMfan. Anytime we can interrupt and do that. So I met you last year at this meeting, which was in Boston, right?
Correct.
And you actually knew me much longer than
Absolutely.
that, as you detailed this morning.
Absolutely.
So I encourage you to listen to our discussion this morning, because Islam knew me for many years before we did. So I met you at TWIV actually at this meeting, which was in Boston.
Yep.
And there I learned about your cool video blog called Virolvlog, which you can see on this nice picture here.
Yep.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first I want to find out all about you. I know you're from Egypt.
I am.
You were born and raised there in Cairo, correct?
Yes. Well, in a small city called Zagazig, which is about an hour ride from Cairo, so not too far.
How do you say that again?
Zagazig.
Zagazig. That's where we're giving the
book
Principles of Virology book.
Correct.
In the
Yes.
library. Okay.
Yes.
So you were born. You have a high school in Egypt. It's
Yep.
the same idea.
Yeah. High school, and then I went to college. I was in the vet school for 5 years.
Vet school.
Yep.
So you're a veterinarian.
I am.
Ah.
Well, but I didn't practice after graduating, so
Right.
I hesitate to call myself veterinarian. So
Well,
more of a researcher.
if a cat walked up and was sick, would you know what to do with it?
I will try, but I won't be good enough.
Okay. So when you went to college, you were obviously interested in science. Where did that come from? Somewhere in your family, or?
Well, actually, so we have a different system for getting into college. Here you can choose whatever you like to do. We go by your score at the high school.
Mm-hmm.
So you have very little options to choose from. So my plan was very different. We have a house, and I planned my life to become a pharmacist. And I had the first floor of the house dedicated for this. I'm going to have my own business, and that's it. I'm going to have an easy life. And that was the plan. But I didn't get the score that will let me into the pharmacy school.
I see.
So I went into vet school without really liking it. But after the first semester, I just fell in love with everything. I just thought this is the perfect fit for me. I love biology. I love learning about basic science. And I was very hardworking student throughout my entire 5 years of study. I was visiting libraries to read from textbooks, and I was achieving really well. So I was ranking on top of my class every single year until I graduated. In fact, at the year of my graduation, my cumulative score was the highest since my school was established in the 60s. So I'm very proud of my history as an undergrad student. I'm not that good anymore. But that was the story of getting into vet school that I didn't like, and then I fell in love with it. And during the last 2 years, we study clinical sciences. We go to the hospital, we do surgery, internal medicine, and so on. And I love anything that's done by hand. I love using my hands. So I fell in love with surgery. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be a surgeon. But it didn't work out for some reason. So the system is, if you are a good student, you get hired as a faculty member immediately after graduating. Very different from here. So I was the top of my class, and I got hired, obviously.
At the vet school?
At the same school.
Okay.
But they couldn't let me choose to take surgery. So I had to choose something else. So I thought, what else did I like over the past 5 years? And it was microbiology, and not microbiology, more specifically virology.
Yeah.
And we had a microbiology department that was split into virology and bacteriology and immunology. And I went to the dean of the school and I said, so we didn't have the option to choose. They just allocate you wherever they like. So I went up to the dean and I said, I want to work at the virology department. He said, we have never done this before, but because we know that you have good history, we'll let you to choose. So he sent me to the vice dean, and I told him I want to work for the virology department. He looked at the list of the departments, and he said, well, actually, it's not on the list for this year. Every department has a plan for hiring, and the virology department is not hiring this year. So he said, if you want to go to the virology department, you have to go and talk to the head of the department. I went, spoke to him, he agreed, and they changed the hiring plan, and I joined the virology department, and that's how I get into it.
Where did this interest in viruses come from?
So because I was a very dedicated student, and I was like, I tried to learn as much as I can outside the traditional lecturing. I came across some really nice science when I was reading virology books. So I like things that are associated with stories and graphics, and like the replication cycle for any virus is a story on its own. So so I think that fits really well with how I think and how I like to study things. So I think it came from it came from this.
So you were hired as a virologist in a veterinary school.
Yes.
Right. So how long did you remain in that position?
It was for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the way it works is that you start doing your master's and you teach side by side. So I was teaching undergrads, and I did my master's on a circovirus, one of the smallest DNA viruses. It's chicken infectious anemia virus. So I was collecting samples from poultry farms, and it was basically serology, trying to analyze sensitivity and specificity of several serological assays. And we had scholarships sponsored by the government. So I was waiting for one of those, and because my score was very high, I had a very good chance. I graduated in 1999, and at that time, about almost 90% of my colleagues, they were coming to the US. It was the top destination for students from Egypt. But in 2001, September 11th happened, and then everything was shut down. And I was affected by that.
Right.
So I was ready to get my scholarship and come to the US, but I couldn't make it because of...
Right.
So I started looking for alternatives, and I was actually, so I was working for the university in the morning, and I just wanted to increase my income a little bit because I was married and I had a family. So I worked as a medical rep. I was a medical representative for a pharmaceutical company in the evening. So I did this for about a couple of years, and halfway through I didn't like the company that I worked for, and I wanted to change it. And we had a newspaper that used to come out on Friday, and this particular Friday issue had all the job openings if you're looking for a job. One day I picked up the newspaper and I saw a big ad from Cambridge University about scholarships for PhD. Actually, I didn't give it any attention because the system wasn't working really well, so whenever you find something like this, you will immediately feel that it's going to someone by name, favoritism.
Yeah, I understand.
So I thought I'll never get it, so just forget about it. And one day I was talking to one of my family members, a guy that I respect a lot, and he asked me, so what are you going to do about your next step? I said, I can't go to the US. But by the way, I saw this ad from Cambridge University, but I will never get in. He said, why don't you try? If you don't apply, your chance is zero. Just give it a shot. Yeah.
So you did?
I did. And at that time, there was no experience whatsoever about applying abroad. I had nobody to write reference letters. I had to go to my professors and explain what a reference letter is. And I didn't have internet access. I used to go to another place and rent for an hour or so. So it was totally clueless, but I went through the entire process and I got selected
to go. Now I think we have a few pictures from your early Egypt days, is that right? So let's see what we have here.
So that's...
Is that the young you?
Yeah, so that is the dean, the guy I'm shaking hand with, who sent me to... So that was the dean and that was the vice dean.
Okay.
So these are the two people who sent me to the virology department later.
Okay, so here you've finished with veterinary school.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
you're going to go, and you seem very happy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you have another one from the early Egypt days
Yeah,
here?
that's
Oh,
in the
veterinary
surgery.
school.
Yeah, that was
What-
my favorite subject.
Is this a horse?
Horse, it is a horse.
This is you here,
Yeah.
right in the front there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So you like to do surgery, and this is what you would have done, but you never ended
I
up
never
doing
got to
it.
do it. Yeah.
Let's see what's next. What's that?
That's a piece of newspaper, a local newspaper, and it had a list of the top students in the vet school. So I'm on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aging a lot, so I'm so maybe you won't be able to recognize it, but yeah. So
There
that
you
was
go.
the list of the top students.
What does
on
the
there.
headline say?
It says these are the students who got like the top 10 students of the year where I graduated.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is now
That's Cambridge.
Cambridge. So let's talk about Cambridge. You got this fellowship, and what was that to do?
So it was a PhD scholarship for 3 years, and I didn't have experience in how to choose a lab.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it could be any. You could choose your own lab then.
Well, I did have a little bit of choice, but it was all dependent on the funding. So the scholarship would fund my tuition, but my supervisor will need to supply funds for
Got it.
for
Got it.
research. So I had two options. There are like two virologists in the vet school, Cambridge Vet School. I wanted to work on flu. For some reason, I felt this is cool, and it's a zoonotic disease, and it jumps between species, and I felt this is really nice. But unfortunately, the guy who worked on flu didn't have money for me. The other person who ended up being my PhD supervisor, and the first guy was my advisor, so I was advised by both eventually. He was a herpes virus guy, an antiviral. And he said, I have money for you if you want to start. So I said, okay, let's give it a try. And I worked on feline herpes virus.
Okay.
Very nasty ocular and upper respiratory disease of cats. I was partly funded by Gilead, a giant pharmaceutical company. And they were interested in testing some of their compounds to see if they have applications for veterinary use. So that was my project. I was comparing antiviral activity and working with people who are in the hospital, trying to see if there are any clinical applications.
And this gave you practical experience
Yeah,
with
it was
herpes
my
viruses?
very first
Virology,
actual
yeah.
virology experience, because
Yeah.
during my master's I was like doing serology. I never cultured the virus, never done plaque assay.
Too bad, yeah. It's really too bad. But now you've done plaque assays.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes.
Otherwise, you
Too
have
many.
to just
I
leave.
have to leave now.
Did you bring your entire family over to the UK with you?
So the scholarship was for a single student, and after I passed through all the steps, they had a conversation with me, and they said, you know what, we have something to tell you about. The scholarship is for a single student, and you have a family. On your paper, in your application, you have a family, but we have no money for your family. So you have to, they gave me options. One is to decline the offer, and they'll give it to somebody else, or to go by myself without my family, or to give them proof that I have enough money to support my family. And I didn't have the money, of course, a lot of money. Eventually, and I'm grateful for my wife, because she's very understanding, and she's very appreciating for like what's good for the family, not what's good for today. She thinks ahead, and she accepted the situation as it is, and she felt, go ahead, and we will try to follow you later. And I was very naive. I felt like if I go, I will save some money, and I will go to the grad school and say, look, I have money, can I bring my family? But actually, after the first 3 months, I realized that I will never be able to save money, because I had enough money to pay for the rent and food, and then that's it. But I was so lucky that I met people in my college. Cambridge is very unique. It's a very, very good place. Only Cambridge and Oxford have this system. You have a college and a department. The college is your life, your social life. That's where you live, that's where you eat, that's where you do your sports. The department is where you do your research. And you have somebody at the college, the tutor, someone is responsible for you, and an advisor at the department. And because I am very terrible at the kitchen, I can't cook. And they had a
Should
dining
try
hall.
Blue Apron, by the way.
Yeah. So I was having my 2 meals. I can do breakfast, but I can't do lunch. So I was having 2 meals every day at the dining hall, and I got to meet a bunch of people from everywhere.
Yeah.
Ireland, England, the US, Denmark, South Korea, Algeria, like a bunch of people from across the map. And we became very good friends, real friends. And they know about the misery that I'm going through because I'm without my family. And by the end of the year, one day, we used to meet at my place because they were all in the dorm, so they all had rooms. I was in a room inside a house. So the college owned a house that had 8 rooms, and I was in one of those. So we had a nice lounge area, kitchen, where people can hang around. So every Friday night, they used to come and stay with me for like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We talk, we chat about everything, history, politics, religion, everything. And it's like a big bunch of diverse group of people. I learned a lot from this. So this group of people, near the end of my first year, in one of our meetings, they came in with an envelope, and I didn't know what they were doing or what they were planning. And I opened the envelope, and it was full of checks, bank checks. What's this? And they said, this is all of our savings. That's all that we saved. Take this money, transfer it to your account, get a bank statement, show it to the grad school that you have money to support your family, and bring them over.
Wow.
And that's how I managed to bring my family
And so you
over.
brought them over. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you still in touch with some of these individuals?
Yes, until today.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great
Actually,
story.
I was amazed. I wanted to just write something that I borrowed money from you. I said,
sure.
we don't want anything. Just don't die.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So this is a picture of you in the lab at at Cambridge.
Cambridge, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think we have some more.
That's beside Queen's College, one of the famous colleges in Cambridge. It's a very, very beautiful city. If you haven't visited Cambridge, please do, because
it's
for
lovely.
the audience, it's one of the most beautiful cities ever.
You still look younger there now.
Yeah, well, not anymore.
Yeah, this is now
That's in the U.S.
U.S. Okay,
Yeah.
so now tell us how you brought your family, you finished your 3 years,
Yeah.
and what did you do next?
So I went to my advisor, who was the flu guy, and he was relatively young at the time when I was there. And we became sort of friends. We had a very interesting relationship. I used to spend hours with him in his office, and he never complained. Never, ever. He used to smile at my face, and every time he's excited about my questions, and he's
great.
willing to help. I really appreciate everything he did for me. His name is Lawrence Stiley. I went to him and said, I want to work for you. He said, you know what, I have money, but I'm not going to hire you. Why? He said, because you like it here. I said, yeah. So that's your comfort zone. Yeah, then you have to go. Tough love.
Good advice.
So that was the George Bush time. It was 2006, and actually my wife didn't want to come to the US. And I was slightly kind of worried about how it's going to work. But he helped a lot. So I started applying to places in the US, and he was calling people, writing letters. He did everything he could to get me to the next step. So I landed a fellowship at the NIH, the National Cancer Institute in Frederick, Maryland.
Okay.
It was the HIV drug resistance program. It still exists until today.
Right.
So that's
where you are
Frederick.
there?
Yep.
This is in Frederick?
Frederick, Maryland. Yeah.
So you worked on HIV and drug sensitivity.
I was working on HIV RNA dimerization.
Okay.
So all the retroviruses are unique in the fact that they package 2 copies of the RNA genome, and they dimerize at a very small palindromic sequence, 6 nucleotides. And most clinically circulating isolates, they have GC, 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 and we didn't know why. So the idea of the project was to create a library that contains all sorts of combination at this 6 nucleotides and see what gets selected. That was the work I did there.
So your family came with you?
Yeah,
And
we
you
all
have
moved from the UK
2
to
kids
the
at
US.
this point?
I have 2 kids. Yeah.
And they're okay in Maryland? Your wife was okay after, because she
Yeah.
didn't want to come to the U.S.
Well, we were like, I think I'm lucky because they are very good at integrating.
Yeah,
We are not
yeah.
closed. We don't live behind closed doors. We like
Yeah.
to talk to our neighbors. We're very open, and we like to be a part of the community that we live in.
Good.
So, and she's very good at adapting. And of course, my kids were very young, so they didn't feel a big difference, and they are now pretty much Americans.
Now they all speak English, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's their first language. It's my second language, but for them it's first language.
First language. So they grew up mainly in the UK, right?
Mainly
Yeah,
in the UK,
yeah, sure.
US. Yeah.
So how long did you spend at NIH?
3 years.
3 years. And what's the next step? Do we have any more NIH pictures here? Let's see.
No, that's MIT.
All right, so that's the next step, MIT.
Well, so I came in 2007,
Yeah.
and near the end of 2008, there was an economic crash. It was a big economic crisis. Labs were closing down. People were leaving. But I was lucky that I could maintain my job at the NIH for a little bit of time until I find something else. And it was very hard, and I couldn't find. It was very tough for everybody, and I thought about going back to the UK. I couldn't make it, and then I finally landed a fellowship at Kansas University. That's the Kansas City, the medical school. It was on hantavirus, and I was interested in learning about how to work in a BSL-3 environment. So when I was back in Egypt, you know, we always look at virologists dressed in the BSL-4,
Yeah.
and we always dream about like
Doing
what-
that.
doing it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I thought that at least closer. So
Yeah.
let's go and try and see how that works. So I went there for a couple of years, and from there I started applying one more time, and I landed this position at MIT, which is my current position, and I
Right.
was so lucky because I'm sure you know MIT is a great place. You worked there.
I was there a few years, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place.
In the late 70s, early 80s. Wonderful place.
yeah.
So what is this? Looks like some sculpture out
Yeah,
front,
that's
right?
outside the Stata Center.
You know, when I first thought of it, I thought it was a snowboard,
No.
the eye, but
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's part of the sculpture. And what are you doing? We're going to talk about your communications in a moment, but
Yeah.
scientifically, what are you working on at MIT?
We're working on influenza viruses.
Influenza, okay.
We are a diverse group of scientists, and that's actually very, very healthy. So we have people who are on the field biology side. So we are at the intersection between influenza surveillance and pathogenesis. So many labs are just doing surveillance, and many labs are just doing pathogenesis work. We do both. So we go out and collect samples from wild birds and marine mammals. We bring them over to the lab. We screen them, and for the positive samples, we sequence those viruses. And then my role comes into looking at the sequences and using sequence analysis tools in trying to come up with something meaningful, trying to understand what these mutations mean. Do they have any effect on polymerase function, for example? Do they have any effect on receptor binding specificity?
Right.
So that's what I've been doing over the past few years.
So between NCI, HIV work, and this, you've really become a molecular virologist,
Yes,
right?
yes, I can claim that.
Now, I think we have, this is an MIT picture.
That's MIT, yeah,
Looking,
yeah.
and you're looking at a gel, and you're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And I can
yeah.
tell you, when I was at MIT in the 80s, we didn't wear gloves when we picked up our gels,
Yeah.
but that's another story.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's where we're sampling gulls.
So this is in the Boston area?
Yeah, so one of the projects we worked on was sampling urban gulls and trying to understand their role in spreading influenza. So that's actually like a shopping mall. You can see Stop and Shop at the background.
Right.
And these are two grad students in our lab, Kim and Chris. And we were capturing those gulls. They're very vicious.
How did you capture these birds?
A rocket launcher.
A rocket launcher.
Yeah, so...
You're being serious, I guess.
Yeah. So you bait them with some like snacks and bread. You just leave it on the ground somewhere, and you go hide behind the truck, or like just hide somewhere.
And they come down, yeah.
And then you can control this net.
Net, okay.
And then once they huddle around the bait, and then you let it go, and then you capture.
So then you swab them. You
swab
bring the
them.
swab back, and you look for virus,
Right,
right?
right.
And then you let them go, right?
And then you let them go.
So are they struggling and trying to get away here?
Well, yes, but they are very strong, and if they bite someone, they hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what fraction of birds have influenza virus, seabirds?
We get about somewhere around 1%
Okay.
positivity rate.
Interesting.
With goals. Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to a TED Talk.
Yep.
This was obviously during your MIT days.
Yep.
And
That
now
was
you
in
look
2015.
like you do today.
Yep, that's 2015.
So how did you get to do this?
So
It says TEDx Cairo, right?
TEDx Cairo.
Wow.
Yeah. So the title of the talk was Alice in the Viral Land.
I like it. Good.
So before the talk, I got into communication by complete coincidence. I never thought about getting out of the lab. I was a traditional scientist, just doing experiments, trying to publish papers and apply for grants, nothing else. And one day I woke up to some terrible news from home. The military, they claimed that they discovered treatment for HIV and hepatitis C. And shortly after that news, another one came up that they have discovered a way to diagnose, a non-invasive diagnosis, using a little piece of, I don't know, something with an antenna. So the antenna will point at you if you're infected, but if you're not, they're not. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I was there, it was a weekend, I remember Saturday. It was a weekend, having some coffee in the morning, and I saw the news. What? That can't be true. And I waited I know how science works, and I thought maybe there's something that I don't know. Maybe you didn't teach us something in the book.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe there's something
So
missing.
by now you had my textbook, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. So maybe there's something missing that I didn't know about. So the whole claim was based on electromagnetic signals emitted by viruses and can be detected and can be used to destroy viruses. It was a piece of junk. I was so frustrated. I never been so frustrated before, like these days. I was so mad, but I didn't know what to do. I had no access to media. I cannot communicate the anger that I have to people. I didn't know what to do. The people who are close to my circle at MIT and my wife, we sat down together and they said, how can we help you? Because I was deteriorating. I cannot focus on my work. I had deadlines that I can't meet. So we thought about, okay, let's book a room at MIT, and that's very easy and for free. And we had a camcorder, very simple camera, and I will prepare a few slides. And I'm just gonna explain why this is not true. I didn't prepare well enough for this presentation in just one night. We usually take months to prepare for presentations. And I just said what I wanted to say without any good preparation. And apparently it was at the right wavelength for people who watched the video. So
you put it on YouTube, right?
I put it on YouTube, and I posted the link on Facebook, and I said, well, for the people who were asking why I'm angry, watch this video. It was about an hour and a half. Very long with internet time scale. It's too long. And in a couple of days, it went viral. I was like, wow. And
that was your first experience with
that's my
YouTube
first
video, right?
Yeah, my first experience. And I started getting calls from the media, and I started getting questions, and I started getting insults, death threats, everything. I was getting like 200 messages every day on all platforms. And I decided to try to cool down because and my wife was so scared because now I am in trouble.
Yeah.
Because I'm criticizing something that, in some countries it might not go down well.
Sure.
So I was trying to deal with the situation, try to answer sincere questions, any genuine question, scientific question, I tried to answer it. And I ignored all the other insults and hate messages and just let it go. And that's how I got into communication. And the people who organized the TEDx event, they watched the video.
I see.
And they actually contacted me. This video was in 2014. And they invited me to go and speak in the 2014 event. But I said, you know what, if I go now, I'm not sure if it will go without problems.
Yeah, sure.
So let's leave it until things cool down, until people know that it's a lie. And I went in 2015.
In Cairo, right?
In Cairo, yeah.
So your original video, is that still available on YouTube?
Still available.
We can at your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
And that got you interested in communicating.
It did. It did.
And now you have Virolvlog, which stemmed from that.
Yep.
Let's see what we have here. Oh, so here we go. This Virolvlog, you and your son recording. So tell us how that came about.
So on the way back, Adham, and my son, he came with me to the TED Talk.
Okay.
So the plan was for them to go during summer, all of them. But he said, I'm excited about the TED Talk and I want to watch it live. I said, okay, but I can give you one ticket. I can't afford two.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come with me, you're not going in summer. I said, okay, I'll be fine with that.
Cool.
So that was the deal. So he came with me, and on the way back.
How old at the time is he?
He was. He's 13. I think he was 11 at that time. So
he wanted to protect you, you know.
Oh, maybe. Well, sometimes they don't care. So on the way back, so the response from the live audience to this talk was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in tears when I finished. There was a standing ovation, and never expected this kind of response. My first experience speaking to about 1,500 people live audience.
The TED was in Arabic, right?
It was in Arabic.
As well as your original video. We should point that out, right?
The original video. Yeah. But actually several people wrote about it in English, so you can find it in English as well. So the experience from that live interaction with the people was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And because the whole talk was about viruses, I was trying to give them, I'm hoping everything I know about viruses in 18 minutes, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I thought my plan was I want everybody who listens to this talk to say, now I know about viruses as if I never knew them before. That was the target that I had for myself. Apparently it worked, and I tried to combine knowledge and anecdotes and humor and everything in 18 minutes. It seems that it was a good combination and really made them happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, why don't we extend this? Why don't we do more? How can I provide them with some of the knowledge that I have? And on the way back, Adham and I were thinking, what do we need to do? So I collaborated with an NGO in Egypt, actually before I did the video on the fake HIV therapy. But I didn't have the editing experience. So I had the green screen in my office, so I could shoot material in my office actually, and send it over to them where they can do all the editing. So we can do video shooting. It's simple, but we cannot finish the product. People won't watch a raw video. So we were thinking about how we can cross that hurdle. So we came back, and in summer, my wife and my daughter, they both went and visited Egypt. So it was only Adham and myself. He used to come with me to the lab in the morning, and we go back home and we start learning about editing. Linda courses, tutorials on YouTube, everything. And he's learning something and I'm learning something, and we teach each other and we share. And we produced our very first video by the end of summer, after we spent about a couple of months learning. Before these videos, actually, I did what's known as screencast, which is you have a PowerPoint, and then you record your audio, but people didn't like it. And I started asking, why don't you like it? It's cool, it's full of useful information. That was during the Ebola outbreak. They said, we want to see you. We want to see your face, we want to see your facial expressions. So it's like a pieces of the puzzle that came together, and we felt, okay, we need to do this, and it has to be nice, and people should see me, and they should see graphics, and they should feel that this is professionally made. So we taught ourselves, and we started releasing those videos, and we went through a learning curve. Like right now, we have much better videos than the first one we started with. And that's it. We established this video in the basement. That's my basement here in this picture. And we started assembling these pieces from Amazon. Very simple. We started with a camera from Costco, actually, for a couple of $100. Now we have a much better one, but that's how we started. Very simple audio, As you can see, the setup is very simple, and that's how we started.
So you put the green screen so you can substitute whatever background and
Right.
graphics that you want, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a good thing. Now, how many
Right.
have you done of these so far, roughly?
We've done about 25.
Okay, and they're how long in length, more or less?
They vary. We try to keep them at like the short end as much as we can, because people have very, short span,
Right.
attention span. But I actually don't care about the videos going viral.
Yeah.
I care more about the
Sure,
quality of the
sure.
content. And some of them go viral. Like when we during the Zika outbreak, it was a hot topic. I
Yeah,
know
yeah, of course,
the
of course.
recipe for a viral video now.
Yeah.
But I don't care much about my videos going viral. So some of them are interviews with scientists, where we like discuss details about maybe like drug development.
Sure,
So we try
sure.
to teach the public about how it works. So we don't want someone to go and deceive them or try to.
And the key is it's in Arabic.
It's in Arabic.
So, and they're all on YouTube. Virolvlog, Virolvlog.
Yep. Yep.
And I want to ask you, if you go to YouTube, all the text is in Arabic except Virolvlog. Why is that?
Well, that's because there's no V in Arabic.
There's no V.
There's no V in Arabic.
So what do you do with Vincent?
Well,
There's
have
no
to-
Vincent.
There's no. Well, we can do it, but it won't be like an authentic Arabic
Okay.
alphabet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if
Like
you
viruses. That's like one of my.
I should have thought of viruses,
Yes.
not Vincent, but no, Vincent came to mind.
Yes.
But you can say if you want to represent virus in Arabic, what would you do?
So we have
The
a
phonetic?
letter that expresses the sound F,
Yeah.
fa sound,
Okay.
and it has one dot on top. And traditionally, people, when they add 3 dots, now it denotes the V sound.
Got
But
it.
that's not an
Okay.
authentic alphabet.
Okay.
So that's how we do it, with 3 dots.
Let's see what else we have here. So it looks like you're at the United Nations
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that was at the UN.
Well, and this is still in MIT years, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that was 2016, I guess.
And what were you talking about there?
So they had an interesting project funded by the United Arab Emirates called the Arab Knowledge Project, and they wanted to evaluate knowledge in the whole region, and they had like very scientific way of doing it, and they wanted to invite experts to read the report and criticize it, and a part of this project was looking at internet connection in the Arab world and online education and resources available. And since I am doing a little bit of effort in this area, I was invited to go and try to highlight the value of expanding internet resources and giving people access to free knowledge on the internet.
Did you speak in Arabic at this?
That was in English.
English? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. What's
Yeah.
that?
So that's my home university. That's the lab where I started.
Oh, the circovirus is up there. In the,
That's my master's project.
So you went back at some point and visited, because
Yeah.
obviously you're older here.
Yes, that's last year. That's last October.
What does the sign say?
It says the Lab of Virology and Immunology.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also in Cairo or
Yep.
outside of Cairo?
That's actually Alexandria.
And you're teaching them about viruses, I
Yeah,
guess.
whenever I get a chance, I love to interact with students. So whenever I go, I'm not on a vacation. Most of my time is busy with lectures and seminars. So actually that was organized by ASM. Peter was
Nice.
there.
I really am impressed.
Actually, Peter is the one who took this picture, right?
Impressed that no one's sleeping.
No.
In my
they're
class,
not
they
allowed.
sleep. They sleep.
They're not allowed.
And this is obviously in Arabic. Do you tell them about Virolvlog and that they should listen?
It was in English because Peter was there.
What's that?
That's my home university. That's the vet school. So here you see that's the College of Veterinary Medicine in Arabic.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. That's one of my most favorite professors in Egypt. His name is Dr. Ali. And whenever I go, I just go and sit in his office. And I like this guy a lot because he is an immense source of knowledge. And that's what he does for life. And he wants people to learn, and he doesn't care about anything else. So it stayed with me, and I've learned a lot apart from his science. I learned a lot about how to give back, how to be always thinking about other people. So this guy had a great role in my life.
You clearly are, right? And finally,
That's
your
my family.
They've been very patient with you, I would
They
say.
are. They are until today.
I want you to go and listen to this morning's recording where he tells the story of, instead of buying his wife a wedding present, he bought a copy of my textbook and brought it home.
Yeah.
But you can listen to this morning's video.
Yeah.
So now you've got a successful video vlog in Arabic. What's in the future? Are you going to do communications or science or both?
I would love to do both. I'm not sure yet, because you know how it looks like in the job market and academia. But I would love to maintain both, and I would actually love universities and academia in general to appreciate communication more. I would like them to reward scientists who do it. We get rewarded for papers, we get rewarded for grants, right? But very little attention to people who, what do you think about this?
Well, you know, everyone agrees that we have to communicate, but scientists don't get any credit for it. So the question is, how do you? As you said, we have a metric, a kind of rough metric in publications and grant support to be considered for tenure, say. But how would you take communications? You know, you have YouTube videos, you have podcasts, you have blog articles, but there's no formal review which, you know, an academic would require in order to do that. So I don't know what the answer is. I think right now most of us are communicating on our own time and our own enthusiasm like you are. And really the future is going to tell us how we can incorporate that into the academic motif. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, you're early in your career, and now hopefully you can still do both. So you're going to stay at MIT for the foreseeable future?
I hope, but I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see, I'm trying to find an opportunity that will let me carry on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And at the same time, teach and do research. Very tough to find these days, but I'll keep trying.
Keep trying. Well, as someone said back in your beginning, if you don't try,
exactly.
you'll never get the job,
Exactly.
right? Now, you have any plans to do English language work?
That's the next step. So the major comment that I hear these days is that why aren't you doing anything in English? But one reason why I don't do it, because you are doing it, and I feel like whatever you're doing is going to be much better. And I'd like to.
Well, I have a suggestion. Why don't we collaborate?
Yes.
We could do things together, and
That would
that
be the
might be
best way
fun,
to
and
do
we
it.
can get both audiences, and maybe we could put them out both in English and in Arabic.
Yeah, that would.
You think you could teach me Arabic? No, no way.
I can try.
I'm too old to learn.
Well, it's not impossible.
Well, if you don't try, you're never going to get it.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Any questions from either online or our audience? There is a mic. Yes, sir.
We have one question. Am I on? Okay. We have one question from Kara Turner, and it's a little off base from what you've been talking about. However, it's appropriate. She asked, do you feel that science deniers may have a serious risk to the overall progress that has been made to date in various scientific fields?
It's a political question.
Yeah, so this morning's session with Mary Woolley from Research America addressed that, and she said there's no evidence that science deniers form a cohesive threat to science. You know, there are isolated pockets of them, and it seems that they are louder than they actually are, but there's no evidence that they're a big problem. So she's done all the surveys, so I would agree with her. Did you go to that session this morning?
No, I didn't.
It was very good, and I highly recommend it. Anything else? Well, my guest today has been Islam Hussein of MIT and Virolvlog. So people can find you on YouTube, Facebook as well.
Twitter, Instagram, it's all the same.
So it's all VIROLVLOG.
Yeah, and actually I should give the credit to my son. He was the one behind the name because I didn't know the word vlog. It was new to me. I didn't know that the word exists to express video blog.
Right.
So he said, why don't you call it vlog? And I thought about, okay, I want to have some virology in there. And then I thought about viral, and then I thought if I call it viral, I'm claiming that my videos are going viral, and I don't want to do this. So let's keep it viral, like the first syllabus from
Okay,
from
works.
viral. So that's
well, Adam, thank you, and maybe he'll be a science communicator one day. Who knows?
Yeah, he's like learning a lot about
great.
video production.
It's great.
And
Well, Islam, thank you so much for joining me
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Thanks to the audience and for those online. I'm Vincent Racaniello. You can find this recording at facebook.com/ASMFan. And this, of course, has been ASM Live from ASM Microbe at New Orleans. Stay tuned for additional programming at facebook.com/ASMFan. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Vincent Racaniello.
They tell you to put your chin right there.
I became an ASM member in 1981.
95?
Since 2008.
I joined ASM in 1974.
I've been an ASM member for 41 years.
I first became a member in 1989.
Seems like all my career.
I'm willing to bet it's a decade.
My first ASM was 1993. I still have a picture of me holding the program open, sitting on the hotel room bed, really excited because for the first time ever I saw my name in print associated with microbiology.
When I was a graduate student at Purdue in 1980, it was the thing. I mean, if you were going to be a microbiologist, you joined the ASM. It was just really that simple.
ASM is very special to me because I became a member in 2002, and when I first attended the meeting at Salt Lake City, Utah, I met my PhD thesis mentor, Dr. Arturo Casadevall. And so ASM kind of introduced me to the PhD world.
Definitely the most important thing is that ASM has provided me with a graduate fellowship. So they've helped support me during my graduate training. In addition, I've gotten a lot of networking opportunities and I've met a lot of really great people through ASM.
And we can share our work and connect, and they can teach me things that I don't know and I can teach them things that they don't know. And just that partnership and working together, that's what scientists do, to share your work. And it's the most exciting thing to learn about new projects.
ASM has actually done a whole lot of work and given me the kind of exposure I wouldn't have had if I'm not a member of ASM.
Many brains are better than one.
Great thing. It's really member-driven organization. I love that. I've always loved that.
Could make the bigger the better, the more the merrier.
You want to do microbiology, become a member.